You know, sometimes the most powerful stories come in the smallest packages. We're about to walk through a 2,000-year-old letter. It's super short, you could read it in like a minute, but wow, is it packed with drama. We're talking heroes, a legit villain, and a timeless clash between ego and integrity. So, let's dive into 3rd John and see what this ancient piece of mail has to teach us.
So you might be thinking, seriously? A letter from 2 millennia ago? What could it possibly have to say about my life with my smartphone and my crazy schedule? Well, it turns out, a lot. This isn't just some old dusty text. It's a super practical guide on how to handle relationships, confront toxic people, and live a life that actually means something. And honestly, it's more relevant now than ever. All right, let's get into it. The letter doesn't start with a big lecture or a list of rules. It kicks off with this incredibly warm personal vibe. This first part is all about walking in the truth, and it really sets the stage by showing us that this whole thing is built on a real, authentic friendship. Okay, verse 1. The writer just calls himself the elder, who most people believe is the Apostle John. And he's writing to this guy Gaius. But check out how he starts. To the beloved Gaius, whom I love in truth. That's not just a fancy hello. That phrase, in truth, is everything. It means their friendship isn't shallow. It's built on something real, something solid. Then, in verse 2, the elder prays for his friend. And it's such a cool prayer. He basically says, Gaius, I know your soul is thriving. You're strong on the inside. I'm praying that your body and your everyday life are just as healthy and prosperous. It's this amazing idea that our inner life and our outer life should be in balance, that we should be healthy all around. And verse 3 tells us why the elder is so happy. He's been getting reports about Gaius from some friends who are traveling, and the news is awesome. Gaius isn't just talking the talk, he is literally walking in the truth. His actions, his choices, his entire life lines up with what he says he believes. His reputation is solid gold. Then we hit verse 4, and wow, this is really the heart of it. The elder just lays it all out there. I have no greater joy than to hear that my children walk in truth. You can just feel the emotion. For him, the ultimate win isn't his own success. It's seeing the people he's mentored, the people he cares about, living lives of integrity. That's what brings him the most joy. So, what does this walking in truth thing actually look like day to day? Is it just a nice idea? Nope. In this next section, Love in Action, we see exactly how Gaius's strong character turns into real, practical, generous actions that make a huge difference. Verse 5 gives us a perfect example. The elder cheers Gaius on for his generosity, not just to his friends, but to strangers. Just picture that for a second. In a time when travel was dangerous, Gaius had this reputation for swinging his door wide open to weary travelers he'd never even met before. That's love in action. And guess what? People were talking. That's what verse 6 is all about. These travelers that Gaius helped, they went back to their home church and told everyone about his incredible kindness. They basically became walking, talking advertisements for Gaius's character. And the elder says, yeah, keep doing that. Keep helping them out. But why was this help so important? Verse 7 gives us the inside scoop. These travelers were missionaries, and they had a very specific rule. They wouldn't take any money or support from people outside their faith. They wanted their message to be pure, with no strings attached. That meant they were completely dependent on the generosity of people like Gaius. And this brings us to the amazing payoff in verse 8. The elder says that when we support people like this, we become fellow workers for the truth. Think about that. You're not just a spectator watching from the sidelines. By providing a meal or place to stay, you become a partner. You're part of the team working together for the same mission. Okay, so everything's been pretty inspiring so far, right? We've got this great guy, Gaius, doing all these good things. Well, get ready for a plot twist. Because now, the elder has to deal with a major problem. A real villain in the church. Verse 9, enter the bad guy. His name is Diotrephes. And his problem is summed up perfectly. He loves to have the preeminence. You know this guy. He's the one who always has to be first, who craves the spotlight, who needs to be in control. And because his ego is so huge, he totally rejects the elder's authority. And in verse 10, we see just how toxic this guy's leadership is. He's not just ignoring the elder, he's on the attack. First, he's spreading nasty rumors. Second, he slams the door in the face of those traveling missionaries. And third, this is just awful. He kicks anyone out of the church who tries to show them hospitality. He's a one-man wrecking crew. So the big question is, what do you do? You've got this power-hungry person causing all sorts of damage and division. How are you supposed to react to that? Do you fight back? Do you start your own rumors? What's the right move?
Verse 11 gives us the answer, and it might not be what you'd expect. The advice is simple, but it is so powerful. Beloved, do not imitate what is evil, but what is good. He doesn't say, form a committee or start an argument. He says, don't sink to his level. Don't fight fire with fire. The best response to evil is to just relentlessly, deliberately keep doing good.
And it really boils down to this. You've got two leaders who represent two completely different paths. On one side, there's Diotrephes, selfish, power-hungry, shutting people out. And on the other, you've got Gaius, living truthfully, welcoming others, building people up. The letter's basically saying, look at these two paths. Keep walking on the good one.
All right, so we've seen the villain and the hero. We have this clear choice laid out before us. Now, in this final part of the letter, the elder's going to wrap things up by giving us one more positive role model and a really beautiful note of hope.
And just to really drive his point home, in verse 12, the elder brings up one more good guy, Demetrius. This dude is held up as the gold standard. Why? Because everyone says he's a good guy. And not only that, the truth itself backs him up. His character is so solid it's undeniable. He's the complete opposite of the gossiping Diotrephes.
Now, in verse 13, he starts to sign off, but he says something that is so relatable it's crazy. He says, I had many things to write, but I do not wish to write to you with pen and ink. Basically, I've got more to say, but this isn't a conversation for a letter. Even 2,000 years ago, he knew that some things are too complicated for a text or an email.
And that leads us right into the beautiful, hopeful conclusion in verse 14. What's the solution to the problems? What's the ultimate goal? It's not to write a longer, angrier letter. His hope is simple. I trust I shall shortly see you, and we shall speak face to face. That's it. To close the distance, to build the friendship, and to solve the problems in person.
And that really leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? This ancient letter, with all its wisdom about good and evil, ends with this deep desire to just be present with someone, to speak face to face. So it makes you wonder, in our world of texting and social media and endless Zooms, what are we losing by not having those face-to-face conversations? What problems could we solve? What friendships could we heal if we just decided to show up?